Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. It's time for some first impressions. Today we're taking a look at the brand new H24. Where's the box? There it is, H24. Just grabbing in the dark. Yeah, H24 was a pretty big release, talking about the original Eau de Toilette because it was the first new men's line from Hermes in quite a while. But it's a pretty divisive fragrance. It does not work for everybody, not at all. A lot of people hate it, a lot of people are indifferent, and then it has some people that really love it as well. I will give it credit. It's trying to play in that, very versatile space, which is dominated by fragrances like Sauvage or Bleu de Chanel, but it's doing it in a different way. So it's not just a run-of-the-mill blue fragrance, you could say. So I give it credit for that. That being said, I really do not like the original H24. I just don't enjoy the way it smells. I don't wear it. Ugh. The Eau de Parfum version, I like more than the Eau de Toilette. I think the Eau de Parfum is better. That being said, I'm still not a massive fan of that one either. But now we have a new H24 Herb Vive, Bright Herbs. This one has launched in Europe. I had to order it from Europe, but it should be out in the US before too long as well. Let's kick things off as we always do by taking a look at the presentation. So here is a good look at the box. You have the size, concentration, and name there on the front. It's an Eau de Parfum concentration, Hermes up on top of the box, QR code on one side. On the back, it has the ingredients and how to refill the bottle. And then on the bottom, you have your badge code and your barcode. My badge code is 24160. And here is the bottle done in your typical H24 style. This one given a little bit of a green tinge to it instead of the more typical yellow that's been used in the previous H24 fragrances. Got the name of the fragrance right there on the front of the bottle. Badge code etched into the glass on the back of the bottle. Little info on the bottom, and then says Hermes up on top of the cap. And the cap does click into place. Let's do how we do and go ahead and share a couple sprays here. Let's do it. Atomizer is really nice on this. I've actually not smelled this off a tester strip. I've worn it a few times, just skipped the tester strip, went straight to skin. Off the strip, smells really good. Bright green, a little bit sweet, fresh, touch of tartness. That smells good off the strip, I like that. But the strip doesn't matter, ultimately, at the end of the day. Matters how it smells off skin. Unless you could just make a shirt and like layer strips over top of it and just blast the tester strips. I don't suggest that. Oh, you could make these collar stays, couldn't you? You could like, you'd kind of snip this and then spray it and then put it inside the collar of a button-up shirt. I'm sure people do something like that already. Some product. Let's go ahead and spray it on skin over here and talk about the scent. Before we jump into how it smells though, here are some codes. Feel free to use these if you shop at any of these websites. GS11, a flat 11% across the entire website at fragflex.com. Then you have Max Aroma and Twisted Lily for those niche fragrances, and you have Triple Traders for clones. And there's also some other codes in there as well. So, H24 Herb Vive. This one has a really simple note breakdown, essentially pear, fizz cool, and then green notes or herbal notes. That's pretty much the extent of it. And I have gotten some reactions on this one. I've had multiple people smell it, and I'll let you know how that went over a little bit later on. But first, how I feel about it. When you first spray it on, it's really pleasant. I actually like it a lot. I think it smells off the top easily better than the other two H24 fragrances to my own taste. It's more wearable. This one is not as aggressive, not as in your face with that metallic steam kind of vibe that you get from the other two H24 fragrances, where that really can just overload the scent. That Sclarion can just be like, it can really make or break that one for you, and for me, it breaks it. This one has that pear that gives it an interesting sort of fruitiness in the opening. It's not super sweet, but it has just a little tinge from that pear. And that helps really lead you in on this one. That opening, like I said, smells great. Very green off the top, as you would expect from the name, from the bottling and everything like that, the presentation. But it's not overdone. It has a nice herbaceousness to it. It comes across just very uplifting while having a little classy touch to it like you would expect from Hermes. I think the opening is great. The opening to me is just very appealing, easy to wear, and it's easily of the three H24 fragrances, the one that I could personally see myself wearing. And I think also, as I kind of said before, it's the easiest to wear of the three. This one doesn't have that one aspect of the scent that just screams, you know, like the other two do, where if you don't like that aspect, you're pretty much screwed, like on the original two H24s. If you don't like that kind of, again, that sclarine overload, it's not gonna do it for you. The Eau de Parfum works a little better for me, like I said, that Narcissus that they have in there. It helps elevate it, helps smooth some of that out, bring some more balance to the scent. But yeah, still the oak moss, sclarine, metallic, all that stuff, it just doesn't do it for me, and that's the last time I'll talk about that. So this one, again, very, very, very pleasant. Green, herbal, a little bit sweet, a touch of tartness from the pear, not a whole lot. Very easy wearing. But there does begin to be an issue for me in the mid. So the opening, 2 thumbs up, my favorite easily. In the mid, this one starts to do some weird stuff. So these are some of the reactions I got from other people. My wife hates this fragrance. Hardcore hates it. Even the opening, which I think smells good, she's repulsed by. I had some other people check it out as well, and the reactions were overall not great. I was told that it had a smell of pickles, that there was like a pickled kind of scent in there that was overwhelming some people, like when they smelled it, which I don't personally get the pickle thing, but a few other people did. So they would smell it and go, oh, it's like a pickle juice mixed in there. And then others said that it had a little bit of a body odor tinge to it. Not hardcore, but almost like you had sweat a little bit and then sprayed the fragrance over top of it. So you mainly got the smell of the fragrance, right? But then as it was like clearing your nose almost, an after smell, kind of like an aftertaste. Now again, the pickle thing, I don't really get that, but the BO, I can kind of get where people are coming from with that because it's not strong, it's not overwhelming, and you may not even notice it whatsoever, but it smells a little bit like you had worked up a sweat, and you're not reeking or anything like that, but you know, you got like a little touch of something going on. And instead of showering or whatever, you went, heck with it, boom, 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 and blasted something over top. So you'll smell it, and again, this is up close, but you smell it, it's like, oh, that's the fragrance. What's that? Something, little something there. Not huge. And again, I don't get that a whole lot, but these are just the reactions that I got wearing it. So take that with a grain of salt. I could be the most unlucky man on earth. This could just not work for me in the mid and comes off smelling that way. But yeah, just overall the reactions have been not great. So anyway, through the mid, it does take on a different scent profile. The pear fades pretty quick. Unfortunately, it doesn't stick around all that long. I think it smells, again, fantastic in the opening. But once the pear starts to kind of fade away, you get this middling point. And it is still very green, still kind of herbaceous, but then it begins to take on like little bits more from the previous two fragrances. It still doesn't smell exactly like either of them or anything like that, but some of that H24 DNA comes out more as you work through the mid. And as I've said a number of times, not my favorite DNA. It still has that herbaceousness, kind of a mossiness that comes through, and that's probably what ties it in most with the previous H24 iterations. Still pretty fresh, but the mid for me at times smells a little bit off-putting. So depending on when I smell it, it'll either smell really good, or other times I'll catch a whiff and I'll be like, it smells off. Like I don't know exactly how to put it. But that's where I think other people were saying, you know, oh, like pickles, or oh, BO, or oh, this, oh, that. There's something in there that you can't quite put your finger on, and when you smell it, you go, that's different. The mid, not a big fan of, but the dry down I think is good. The dry down essentially is a green woody kind of scent profile. Still nicely fresh, but primarily kind of a modern, clean woodiness with residual herbal aspects from the opening and the mid carrying over into the dry down. And I like it. I think it smells classy. I think it smells gentlemanly, but still extremely easy to wear. Be good for the office, good casually once you're in the dry down. So this one is kind of a bag of tricks. The opening, whoa, fantastic. As soon as I spray that on, I'm like, wow. Now this is what H24 should be. And then as the pear fades, it takes on that mid ground where you kind of just like, because it's not great when you're trying on the fragrance and everybody around you is like, that sucks, what is that? But then once you're out of there into the dry down, it smells really good again, at least in my opinion. So this for me is ups and downs, kind of a roller coaster. I still think of the 3 H24 fragrances, this is the best one. For me, this is the one I would wear. I think it is gonna be one of those things where I get used to the mid and I no longer have any, any feelings of like, oh, that's kind of a little off. I really think it's just one of those scents where the first maybe time or two that you wear it, you're still getting used to the whole life of the fragrance, right? The opening to the dry down. And there are times where you catch a whiff and you're like, oh, kind of odd right there. But then once you're used to it, you're accustomed to it, you smell it and you go, oh yeah, I've smelled that. And then you can kind of dig deeper into it. I feel like that's what's gonna go on here. So I'm not too worried about it, but I will say that for me, the high point is the opening and then the mid is the low point and the dry down is in between. I just wish my wife didn't adamantly say how much she hates it over and over. You got a girlfriend or a wife or whatever, you get a new fragrance in and you're like, oh, I'm excited to try this, spray it on, and they just keep reminding you, by the way, don't wear that, it's awful. That kind of takes the wind out of your sails a little bit. And again, this is first impression, so take it with another grain of salt, but as far as performance, it seems to be pretty good. Projects well when I first spray this one on, lasts a good amount of time, so no problem there. In terms of seasonality, gonna be more spring, summer, and fall, I would say. Daytime leaning, but you could wear it during the evening if you like. I mean, really, just wear it whenever you want. So yeah, that's the new H24. For me, this is the best one of the H24 line. I would put this first, the Eau de Parfum second, the Eau de Toilette third. There are aspects, as I've said a number of times, that I think I'm gonna come around to. I feel like I will come around to it. This isn't the type of fragrance where I'm, just adamantly saying, oh, this part of the fragrance is awful, I will never like it. I don't think that's the case, but it is, it's got an interesting change as it goes through the mid. Wish I could say the same for other people that smelled it. It smells fantastic off a tester strip. If they could translate this and the staying power of this on the strip to your skin, that would be fantastic. It's so green and lively and realistic and fresh and everything that you want. And it smells like this initially off your skin. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.